Welcome back, everybody, and let's take a moment so I can fill you in on what you've missed. Because when I say missed, I mean what I didn't record. I don't record things like these steps right here because my hands are not factory equipped to do this. That part right there. There was so much cursing. I only had to replace one E-clip. I lost one. I'll find that later. Where did I put it? The rear bumper is now independent of the vehicle again. Because as I got further into the build, I realized that the sway bar goes right there. So short of fabricating some sort of adapter to lower the sway bar down, which would then mean that the sway bar links aren't the correct length anymore, I just took the bumper off, and I will build some sort of intermediate plate to connect this to. I haven't figured it out, and it's kind of a non-issue because here's where I've gotten to. That's a thing. It steers, and this is the 270 degree version of the 35 kg Amazon servo. So I think it's limited to like 54% in one direction and 48 in the other, and still throws full lock. I feel like it gets more steering one way than the other. Let's, here we go. No. Maybe it is the same. I don't know. I've been in here a while, fighting with this thing because you start to get everything put in there. I was so excited about how the bumper fit. And then, sway bar goes right there. So the sway bar was never built with the intention of being used in conjunction with a bumper mount like that. So, I mean, it was kind of a hack bodge to get it on there as it was. So I know I need to drop it a lot. Somewhere in a bin, I have a plate that has the correct hole measurements. So I can just take that plate, use it to re-drill, and make a step-down plate with bumper rods that come out. It should be fine. The other option that I had thought of was, as I made this piece, make another big aluminum tombstone back here and hopefully have it come out enough that I can just bolt these guys directly to it down there somewhere. Either way, it's going to be adding rear weight that I'm not 100% sure I want. This, to my knowledge, is a brand new spur gear. I think it has like one chipped tooth. You can kind of see it right there, because when you throttle up, you get a little... There's definitely a click that changes with RPM, so... And doesn't happen in reverse. Oh, well, I mean, how would a lazy person fix this? You take the spur around, flip it around the other way. So I might try that. It moves. It is currently geared 19, and then whatever the stock pinion is. Spur is. Low speed control feels pretty good. I would slap a body on it right now, but the body doesn't fit because something in here that has wires on it is hitting the fenders. So this guy is just kind of barely adhered down with old tape. This guy's just flopping around in the breeze. So I'm going to get some stuff anchored down a little better. We've got the servo with the meter long wire on it. I'll try to get some wiring tucked in a little better. I was just going to go lazy, mount the electronics right in here. That's definitely not happening, as Yeah, there's so little space in between here. Like on a TRX4, all that's up here is a servo, and then there's no electronics until back here. So this is minor stuff. I really wanted to see what the body looked like with the tires on it, but I can't get to there. So I will get these electronics anchored down a little better, try to zip tie some of this stuff out of the way. Hopefully I can just run the servo right there. But I don't know yet because of the fenders. I think some of the wiring might be hitting on the fenders. If there's a way I can position this battery to get it to run like that, that's how I'm going to do it. But, you know, I had a lot of grand plans, and now here we are with the bumper off again. Oh, I think I forgot to mention last time, the solution for the front was just straight up combo disc belt sander. I just sanded the ends down until they fit. I had to make a little cut in there so that the frame rail could slide a little further forward. And then I just drilled one extra hole. This is a rear bumper mount for a TRX4, and it put the front bumper in the perfect position. So now that I have to redo this whole rear bumper mount area, I'm pretty free to do whatever I want. I don't necessarily have to use this one with the holes in it. I can go to like either the Gatekeeper or the Ecto one. The Ecto one has the little bolt holes in it, because I think they'll yes, they will clear the sway bar. Or I can go to the Gatekeeper one, which is just a flat, and then drill through, bolt to it. I haven't mentally arrived at how this is going to attach to this, but I'm going to get there. First, I'm going to get to not having this nightmare, so that hopefully I can get a body to sit back down on it. And en route to getting that body to fit, what I did was get really obsessed with getting that back bumper mounted. So what I did, as my default setting is to think like a lazy person, was I just had the reduced heads, and then the square part was just bolted in, and they were just sandwiched together. So I said, well, now that I don't have a drop bumper mount, because I can't use this because of the sway bar, I have to use this. So we're not talking about a huge difference. I think it's actually about 6 millimeters is all the difference is. So I said, I'll take some spacers. I'll reduce down some longer screws, and I'll just basically imagine these as the two different pieces. Spacer in the middle, bolt them together. Bish bosh, went together. Everything was great. Had it slid in. The bumper was pretty well lined up. Probably could have gone, I think it was about a millimeter and a half lower, but I wasn't going to sweat it. Then I marked the positions, and because of the way they're flipped around, look at those messed up holes. All the holes are at that end, so it was inserted into the hanger that way, right? So there was no hole for it. So I made my marks, took it over, and went to drill it, and the bit walked off to the side. So, I mean, there might have been cursing. Like, I definitely had words with myself about that one. So, as that was no longer now a feasible option, because I wasn't going to try to ruin another one of these, like, that's still functional for another bumper, presumably, I thought, what do I have that I can move that thing that 5-6 millimeters? So, this is a 3/4 inch 6061 aluminum rod. This is the leftover piece. And I made a big mess with that. And it took hours. Because, I mean, I doubt that this is the best way to go about it. But I did get the bumper on. And that spur gear is still the clackiest thing known to man, for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's brand new. But the everything fits. And the rear bumper mount is now simply the most absurd possible thing I could have done. Yes, I believe there will be certainly an opportunity to reduce some weight off of that. But the size that they were, I mean, pretty much perfectly positioned that bumper. The electronics are now in a sort of semi-finalized condition. The battery went where I wanted it to go. You notice the preload is dialed out to maximum, and it's still pretty soft. The Gatekeeper cage is well under half of what the Defender weighs, but it sits down more easily than a Defender does on a TRX-4. The shock oil, I mean, we might have to address it. So that's maximum preload in the back. And I mean, it kind of moves around pretty good, but I feel like that's probably a little too much. Steering is good. I still feel like it has more throw to one side than the other, but it hasn't been outside this building yet, so I don't know. But where it's going is outside this building right now. These are obviously not the permanent wheels or tires, though I think the Steelies look pretty good. I dropped the pinion down to a 14 because just running it around on the floor in here, a 19 is aggressive. I forgot that the Stealth does not have a ton of gear reduction to it. I don't know what that click. So that spur gear, I don't know what happened to that spur gear. Did I mash a tooth on it? Something. Because with two different pinion gears, it's still super clicky. It has to be right there. Can I zoom in on that? Right there. I think it's that one mashed tooth is what makes this thing sound terrible. Yeah, it kind of looks like it. I mean, I don't know. I might take a look at that. I might just rock it. But either way, this thing is ready. This thing is ready to see some rocks. And it's ready for you to see it on some rocks. I took a little mini triangle file to that spur gear. It helped a little bit, but it's still got a little chunka. I can't imagine that on these little class 1s, the approach and departure angles on a body this long are going to be amazing. But I'm more anxious to see how that very soft suspension is going to affect it. So let's just throw it into a side hill action here. Oh, it's really smooth. That Holmes motor and the 1080. Okay. Yeah, it is staying surprisingly planted. Yeah, and with all that weight, yeah, drag brake looks great. That's a little 3-wheel wheel stand there. All right, you know what? Let's just go straight to something a little tougher. These little KLRs have never really proven to have the most in absolute forward traction, and it's not providing a tremendous amount of ground clearance. But okay, let's see if that big bumper. There we go. I was like, I got to get that big bumper hung up at some point. Okay, that's the couldn't tell if that was rear bumper hung or just long wheelbase. Come on. Oh, she's a little mired. I think I got the bumper hooked over. Come on. It is stable though. I mean, I would expect it to get stuck here. Yeah, I'm just hanging that front bumper quite a lot. But again, adapting the brain to the driving a Class 1 mindset is the toughest part for me. So let's see if we can remain composed here. I'm surprised at how well it's clearing. I mean, the front bumper seems to be the biggest issue, and as much as I love that big bull bar on the front, I feel like if I remove that bull bar, I can move the front bumper back like 3 holes on the mount, and it would tuck the bumper all the way under the front grille. All right. Oh, gotta turn into it. Oh, that's a little wheel stander there. Yeah, this is where the suspension softness is becoming quite evident. That line was poor. Let's try approaching it a little more straight on rather than trying to walk it across. Gonna hug that fence line a little better. Get that tire. Oh! Just drive it around. I'm pretty sure it's all front bumper here. Might make a quick run to the driver. Come on. Push it down. I would like to mention what overdrive the gearbox is built in, but I honestly don't remember. I honestly don't remember what gears went in when I built it, whether it's the 5% or the 11. I think with that front bumper, I don't think Daphne's line is doable. I mean, look how that the clearance on that front bumper over obstacles is. It didn't occur to me how far out in front of the body that puts the bumper. Like it's killing the approach angle. It looks good, but all right. Well, you know what? I didn't want to go straight to slick rock, but let's try it. Because this section I have found really tells more about the fitted tire than it does about the capabilities of the machine. Yeah, the approach angle is just barely there to get up on this. If this thing will get to the top of this on these tires, it'd be pretty amazing. Hold is good. Go for a little bump. Think I'm mired pretty well. Oh, I got a tire over the top though. Yeah, rear is just fish hooked. All right, it did not roll there. That is definitely something. Yeah, I mean a better tire, and it makes that. So let's take one more hit at this one. Yeah, you can just see the front tires just slipping out. Like they're really only giving traction under power. As soon as you're off power, they don't have enough hold to hold the rig in place, so it's constant power application. And then the front tire that's lower down on the ridge doesn't have enough traction to pull the front end up and over. The rear, the angle on the rear seems fine, but that front needs to be addressed. Surprising, at least to me, the suspension feels marshmallow soft, but it doesn't appear to hinder this thing's climbing ability at all. I think the limitation right here are the knockoff tires, and that I continue to get the rear pumpkin hung on the same spot every time I try to get up here. Yeah, they just don't have enough forward traction. Now that I see it without the bull bar on it, I don't know, I think I like it better without it. I think I was just enamored by the beefiness of it, but there's too much of a performance hit. And I don't know if it's the tires or the trims, but like I feel like there should be more steering. There's definitely more steering one way than the other, and it looks like I'm at the limits, and I'm using the horn that came with the kit. Yeah, the drag brake will outbrake the tire by a good amount, but I think what we need to see that will be most telling is side hill. And I mean, compared to a stock quote-unquote Defender, that being a TRX4 Defender, this is already significantly more stable. These tires just do not have enough grip. Now, let's try the worst possible choice here. Let's try to spin it around like right here. A stock Defender right here would roll over right there. A little bump up. No problem there. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to take a look at the steering. Something is amiss. Because generally this Element front end has got a lot of steering. I think what I might do is look at that, that might actually be more droop than I would like up there in that front end. It will definitely try its best to keep all four wheels on the ground. I'm going to take a look at that steering, and maybe just for a quick spin, throw some bigger tires on it for the moment, because its side hilling seems fine. Shock oil weight, I'm definitely thinking too light. I think the servo issue was 100% user error. I think I did the thing where I clicked exit on the Fly Sky without pressing the dial wheel first, which just resets it to what it was before. So I pushed the bumper back and actually drilled another hole in the mount. So the front bumper is back as far as it will go. We're talking a close miss there before having to cut anything, but man, that guy, see, now I like that. I like the beefiness of the bull bar, but I like how tucked that, I mean, as you can see, you could actually go a little bit further back and get it all the way under, but I like it flush with the grill, because now it kind of matches the aesthetic of the rear end, except for those two giant, insane aluminum cylinders. So let us see. We will do a direct back-to-back side hill comparison. I'll try to get out here on the outside edge. Side hill comparison, KLRs versus, I brought the growlers out, which we know are a little blown out. But it should at least show how the squishiness of the suspension, how it's going to manage this. Yeah, that trailing arm in the rear, that is really pitching over. But it's keeping the tire down. Yeah, that is a lot of side flex right there, like a lot. Yeah, most likely too much. During that tire swap, I got to thinking, I'm almost positive that I have a set of stock Defender springs, which I think might be the ticket for a vehicle with a Defender body on it. We are seeing here, despite having pretty well broken down foams, the difference between $20 a set probably knock off Class 1 KLRs versus Pitbull Growlers. Now let's see, the suspension is, as I said, very soft. And I mean, that's already a steeper angle. I'm expecting it to lose it off the pipe here. I don't know how that is hanging on right there. That anything with a defender on it should have rolled over already. We're just gonna take the easy way out. The approach angle now, I mean, is significantly improved. I mean, the tires are moving things up. Yeah, I'm not ruling out Class 1, but I will say that the added clearance is very much welcome. And I thought there would be a lot more rubbing, but it's like these tires were made to go on here. Honestly, I still can't get over how low it sits and how little it rubs. It's kind of counterintuitive. So it looks as if whatever this guy is going to be named, I was very tickled by what was it, Landkeeper and Gate Rover. I think both of those are tremendous. So it looks like the Landkeeper Gate Rover has stumbled on this week's 6-gate course, which has not been run yet. So let's take a hack at that in a vehicle whose suspension is not ready. But I mean, we will forgive a gate touch or two for sure. Yeah, this is gonna be a tough line because the line to get between the gates, there's a big high rock right in the middle. All right, looks like wraps around that. Must have a reverse there for this guy. Oh, that's real iffy right there. All right, keeps it down. All right, you can use as many reverses as you want. That's gonna be a tricky approach here. Yeah, with this gearbox, it almost feels like 14 is too big. Like, I might have a 12. Wow, that didn't go over. Let's wrap it up around 3 here. Yeah, I still feel something about the steering is not 100. Like, I reset the endpoints and it's at the physical limit. But yeah, bump it up. It doesn't feel like as much steering on anything else that I have that has a element front end on it. This will undoubtedly be a tricky gate for someone top heavy with no fancy things like dig. Not too. Ooh, it's gonna get real. It's gonna get real off angle here real quick. Oh, hold it up. Oh, all right. I mean, he's completely sideways and about to tip over, but so far so good. So the fact that he hasn't fallen over from that position and clawed over, wow, yeah. That element setup is doing quite nicely. Here's a very side hill of a gate here. Oh, that was a weight transfer there. Yeah, any steering input I try to give to go uphill is just gonna flop it. So we'll grab some grass in the front bumper, circle it around. I'm suddenly, I think we have located a bolt that I failed to tighten, because that's a little more steering angle than I would hope for. Another contribution to the notion that any steering problem was, again, user error. That screw right there was just gone. Like, I either didn't tighten it down enough or didn't put it in altogether, so the C-hub was just slowly sliding off until finally the drive shaft disconnected and it fell out altogether. So let's see if the steering improves at all. Unsurprisingly, it kind of did. Because I think what was happening is it was just getting wildly towed out. And now that it's assembled properly, it's kind of behaving the way the designers intended. So I think a spring change, definitely in order. The oil might be okay, because I don't think it's going up a significant amount in rate. Just the rear end needs more. I mean, I added a bunch of weight back there. The body added a bunch of weight back there. But all things considered, even with these Smusho tires, I don't know if it'll show, I think it's in the shadows, that front low side tire is just smushed. And now I've got the pumpkin hung, but stays up, and off the pipe. So far, aside from egregious user errors in fabrication and assembly, this thing is outright surprising. This is shades of the Vanimal in you would expect it to roll over a lot more than it does. The predictability of when this thing is going to break loose. Woo-hoo-hoo! The predictability rating of this rig as it sits right now is high. Like, it gives ample warning to when it's going to go over. That when coming down the vertical was 100% the fact that, I mean, this thing as it sits right now might be sitting 50-50 weight distribution. I feel like it can use either, it can either use more weight in the front or less weight in the back. It has absolutely no additional weight. Yeah, you can see it just get right here. Yeah, there's no weight on the front at all. But, nevertheless, let's see how that translates to descending. I mean, it's really pretty glued. Let's try a little slipperier side hill here. I'm going to try to cut this arc up a little higher than I ordinarily would. I know these tires have the grip for it. Now let's arc it back down. Yeah, it's surprisingly composed for how soft the suspension is, because the suspension, as I've mentioned, is set for not for a 2-pound body. But the trailing arm in the rear definitely I mean, this thing gets 4 tires on the ground most of the time. Yeah, the steering is so much better now. Thing is genuinely surprising. I mean, ordinarily, you're just fighting the Defender shell the whole way. I don't feel like it even has a Defender on it. I'm figuring out the peculiarities of the weight distribution rather quickly, and the times that it's rolled over, I can basically call it. I can tell it's going to go before it goes. Heavier springs. I think I'll just go to heavier springs first. Man, these growlers are doing great. I'm so glad the tire test went on and Daphne freed up these tires, because these tires seem to be working better on this than they worked on any rig they've been mounted to previously. And once again, that Holmes, the drag brake is a clamp. It's brushless level drag brake. It just holds. Yeah, but here's how you can tell. Well, I got a little hang there. Let's get off this hang. All right. Yeah, see, this is how you know that you don't have a tremendous amount of front weight. This thing might climb better backwards. Actually, I think it just climbs the same forward and backward. Heck, I don't know, maybe there's an advantage to that. Let's try it on some real chop before we grab it and toss it on the scales. This is very high grip. Probably one of the highest grip obstacles out here. But also, it's Crag City, so there's a lot of stuff to get stuck on. Can he push that front end over? Yeah, see here, definitively the weight distribution notable here. Like it can't drop that front end down. There's not enough, but it behaves the same way in reverse that it does forward. If I can get up that cut. Wow. Oh! Almost had it. Yeah, this thing is doing impossible things. It's very good. Very good. I'm definitely a fan of the Element platform. I've got 3 rigs based or loosely based off of this chassis. And from first build, you know, in where we're at, the untuned phase, this guy is really surprising. Despite the capabilities, I definitely think heavier springs are in order. But as I say that, look at it just claw up. Like I'm just holding the trigger steady state and just driving in a straight line. Only started to get hung right there at the end. This is not at all what I expected, because the Defender is something of the sacrifices we make for vanity. It looks so good that we're willing to forgive the fact that it's top heavy and it flips over a lot. Oh, it is it is undeniably long as well. There we go. And that front bumper will have no anodization on it within a couple weeks. The growlers are proving to be every bit as good as they've always been. They are performing the best on this vehicle, just the absolute best. It's that tire. This is like when I put the tusks on Argentum the Phoenix. It made me not want to try any other tire. We can get out of this. Nope. Nope. Come on. Come on. Yeah, see? We can get out of this. That's the magical, that's the mystical power of the Defender. Alright, we'll try a little across here and then throw this thing on the scales because, I mean, I have to know. Yeah, these tires just soak it up. And This thing should be rolling over more. Like that. And now we're stuck. All right, to the scales it is. What we have here in the land-keeping gate rover is a surprise. Super soft pillow-like suspension, which of course does give a tremendous amount of flex, particularly in the rear. Gave us for what in build terms, what I would call out of the box, right? There's no tuning done to this at all. The shocks are just mounted in their default middle positions. Nothing has been trimmed or tuned. I mean, I can take material out of that. Look at these big things. So all of the stuff that is not gatekeeper is all this stuff right here. So what this did is, as anticipated, and look how high the suspension has to sit to accommodate the weight of that body. What this got us is a somewhat unexpected result on the scales. It has a 51.49 weight distribution. Came in at 7.64 pounds, which, I mean, like I said, 7 pounds, super optimistic. 7.64 for what this is, that's pretty good. Because without the body on it, this rig as it sits is under 6 pounds. So there's nothing on this designed in any way to reduce weight at all. I mean, these things have to weigh 2 or 3 ounces apiece. So aside from that 51.49 weight split, we get a CGH of 1.74 inches from the axle, which is 4.13 inches from the ground, which is right here in this sight line on the tread. I mean, best case scenario, I would like to get that down to about there. And I've gone through this before in attempts to shave weight, and most of it is just fruitless. So, I mean, if I took these to the lathe and reduced down some more here, like, it only needs to be fat at the point where they're actually contacting. So I could realistically cut all of that off, which I probably will. It's not adding any strength. And then I can reduce this down on the lathe. But honestly, that will take off, like, off of both of them, will take off less than an ounce. If I cut the whole middle out of that, it would save like 10 grams. Because this is Delrin, that whole piece weighs about 10 grams. So realistically, if I dice all that stuff up, I can take an ounce and a half, 40 grams maybe, when bolt-on brass knuckle weights for the front will add like 90 grams per side. So what I will most likely do is just try knuckle weights to start, and then, I mean, I can go in there and cut some of this off just for aesthetic reasons. Although, I mean, they do look kind of like two big jet mufflers. I mean, I could make some tips for them, come out the back and just stick them straight out the back door. But I'm super pleased with how it performed. It needs to be tuned. The suspension is super smooth, but was never, in this setup, was never made to accommodate this fella. I'm thinking now, because I have so much body mount up in the front, and I mean, that's an uncut rear. That's how low the chassis is pushed down relative to a TRX4 chassis. I'm thinking of just going to magnets front and rear, and inspired by the Vanimal, just extending out some angle here, Velcro on it, magnets and Velcro, then it's just lift to take the body off. I mean, the body pins aren't a huge issue, but it would just kind of be nice. I've gotten so spoiled by the Vanimal in that I barely run it with clips unless it's in some sort of competition. And here in the closing wrap-up portion of this, you'll have seen just a few moments ago, this make a soft suspensioned effort at the 6-gate course that's laid out there in Sleeping Giant. And usually I think of some sort of notion of what vehicles to run in that. And I think this week it might not be a Sunday 6 gate because this will be posted on Sunday. What I would like to do is leave it to the viewers, and not just the viewers, but the viewers who actually make it to the end of videos. You know who's in the fleet here. I wouldn't put anybody off limits. If I have to, I will drive the Vanimal with its disassembled half-masked body, though I would prefer not to. I will say that now. I would prefer not to. I don't like running painted bodies that aren't finished. It's got window mask on it. I don't want to gouge up the window masks. I mean, I will if I have to. But to those diehard viewers of the channel, pick 4. Pick 4 of the group to compete in this week's 6 gate. And I'm going to leave the gates in their exact positions that they're in now. And I will run the 4 top picks against each other in the 6 gate in the conventional. We'll go to the conventional scoring of they take 2 runs and will only score the best run, instead of a more advanced, like for people who have been in it before. Because like Jolly Green has not been in one. Ironsides has not been in one. The Banana's only been in one. Colonel Mustard is actually, I think, out of commission. That's my buddy's truck, and he's kind of half assembled now. I might be able to get him ready to wheel, but I don't know. Like, he bought a new body for the Colonel, so some stuff has definitely been disassembled. I don't even think I can fit his body on him right now. But okay, so let's say that the Vanimal and the Colonel are out due to maintenance issues. I'll have a picture up. We'll splash a picture in here showing who is available. This guy's available. I mean, he's not tuned, so he won't do well, but he's available. And that's who I will run on the 6 gate this week's. It won't be a Sunday 6 gate, but it'll be a 6 gate. And it'll be viewer's choice on that one. I'll continue working on this one in the interim. And yeah, that'll do it for this one. So hopefully the next time we see this guy out there, he'll be a little more ready. Much as I love a pillow soft marshmallow of a suspension, this is not helping this guy when he starts to get sideways. So that's the gatekeeping, roving landkeeper, whatever his cool name turns out to be. He outperformed my expectations significantly. And please do mention in the comments who you would like for the upcoming 6 gate competition. And as usual, thanks for watching.